Hi.
Moment,
Thank
please.
you for having me today and loaning me the mic for 8 minutes, no more. We'll get our slides going. And what I want to talk to you about today is creating healthy, effective, intentional workplace cultures. And I thought the best way to start that was by talking about Zurich, Switzerland. So you get there, you get off the plane, it starts at the airport. It feels thoughtful. It's modern, it's clean. You don't have to speak any Swiss German to get from your gate to the train to the city center, no problems. They actually have been dubbed the world's best transit city, and it's apparent when you're there. It doesn't just take you through town, you can get to the suburbs, you can get anywhere. And because 60% of the Swiss folks who live there use the mass transportation every day, you have a lot less cars on the road, right? So you're not covered. There's no honking, right? There's no honking in Zurich. That's not a thing. It's clean. There's less road noise. There's less pollution. Pollution was like really back here. I couldn't find it for a second, so thanks for bearing with me. And it just feels like they built it for a reason. They built it for the people who live there. And there's lots of open spaces. And as my slide is giving away, there are so many drinking fountains, water fountains, right? So these not drinking fountains like you had in PE class, but these water fountains that you find in cities across Europe. And these ones you can actually drink from, right? So people will bring their canteens up. They have like little spouts on the side of the fountains and you can drink from it. And I was just like in awe of this. I thought it was so random that you could drink fountain water and it's totally good and it's clean. And so Zurich is just this amazing clean space. And so if you haven't been, I would encourage you to go. And I think there's a hacking HR there now too. So, There you go. Switching gears a bit, how many of you know Tangletown? It's about 5 miles north by Green Lake. The first time I ever went to Tangletown, I was a student at the University of Washington, and I was working on a project with a friend. He'd found this new coffee shop called Zoka, and he was like, hey, come and meet me, we'll work on our project together. I'm like, great, I'll meet you there on Saturday. I go to the Ave, I get on the bus, I get off the bus, I go to find Zoka. But when I was in college, we didn't have iPhones yet. We didn't have Androids. We didn't have those like mini GPS systems in our pocket. So I get off the bus and I'm in Green Lake. I know Green Lake. I grew up around here. I spent my summers running, walking, rowing crew at Green Lake, right? Like I know the area. I had no idea where I was. I couldn't find where I was going. And these tangled streets, they don't make any sense. So here I am, frustrated, 20 minutes late to meet my friend. Still don't know where I'm going. Luckily, there's a woman outside. She tells me where to go, right? Like up the street, take a right, follow that curvy road, keep following it. Left, 2 blocks up, can't miss it. Finally, I find it. It's a cute coffee shop, but I don't see that anymore. I'm frustrated. This experience was terrible. It wasn't quick, and I speak the language. So I get to the coffee shop. I nearly don't enjoy my amazing latte because I'm so frustrated. My friend's not happy. We're running behind, right? Like we have this project to do. And it just felt like, who designed this place? Like, how did this get built in what I thought was a modern city? Now, so for those of you who are wondering how I'm going to tie this back to workplace culture, I will ask that you go with me, and we'll see if we can make it together. So think about your workplace. Think about some of the programs and processes you have in place that maybe seem fine, not great. Maybe it's your onboarding, right? So it's okay. Your new employees, they show up, they get their laptop, they get some new swags. I work in a tech company, everybody loves swag. And they have like a shallow understanding of what your vacation policy is. But that's it, right? So they've been dropped in this cute little coffee shop, but they're surrounded by tangled streets. They don't know what your values are. They don't know how to use those values to make decisions. It's a mess, right? So we have to be more thoughtful about how we're creating these things that can seem like they don't all have to be connected. But when you think about what was their experience like when they were talking with the recruiter versus what the HR business partner was saying to them in that first day, how did it all flow together? Did it flow together? Was it thoughtful? Did it feel like a zippy little train in Zurich? Or were they wandering around in circles for their first couple of weeks? I think we can do better. And we can do better by using design thinking. Anybody familiar with design thinking? Yay, great. So design thinking, for those of you who aren't familiar, is a way to problem solve that was made popular by the design consultancy IDEO. And it's a way of empathizing with your end users. So in all of my various analogies, this could be your candidates, this could be your employees, it could be your tourists, and understanding what it's like for them day in and day out, and what pain points are they experiencing. Not what pain points do you think they're experiencing, but actually talking to them and learning a bit about what it's like for them. Using that to define what the actual problem might be, and then you start to find some solutions that could work, you run some prototypes, you test it out. But we're in HR. We don't have time for that, right? We are putting fires out all day long. Anybody else get that? Like most of your week, you're just putting out fires and you're like, I don't have time to think about the big program I'm building or how it's going to turn into this international city or something. I just have to solve today's problem. I have business leaders, I have employees who need solutions. So we're just going to run with this and we're going to see how it goes. But it doesn't work out very well, right? Like you're not creating the culture that you want to create. It's not going to be scalable. You can't build Zurich over Tangletown. It won't work. I don't know where the trains would go. So stop doing that. Okay? Can we stop? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to start with your values. What are your company's values? Are they woven through your programs? Do your employees know what they are? Do their teams exhibit them day in and day out? When you see inconsistencies, or when you talk to your employees, not just your HR people teams, but your employees, and you hear, nope, that doesn't all work together, find out why. What could make it better? Spend some time with them, observe them. Define the problems that they're facing. Then you can go to problem solving and create some solutions. Try some things out, lather, rinse, repeat. See if it gets better. See if you can have that intentional, effective, healthy culture that you're wanting and not just a bunch of things stuck together. So 2 places you can start when you go back to your office tomorrow. Think about if you're walking the talk. Is what you say your culture is like, is that what it's really like? How you write about it in your job descriptions, is that what it feels like when the candidate comes in? What about your employee brand? What you're putting on LinkedIn, what you're putting on Glassdoor? Is that how your employees say they feel in your engagement surveys, in your engagement interviews? If no, start building to fix it. Thank you.